I mentioned the emphasis of the edge at this conference at the beginning of this program. I asked Bill Burnham, Chief Technology Officer for U.S. Public Sector at HPE, how edge computing and data consumption and analytics converge.
Yeah, so we have a couple things happening in this space, particularly at the edge, and that is data. It's all about making valuable insights from your data. And the challenge there is data today is getting big. It's almost getting too big to move in the commercial sense. When you get into a Department of Defense environment where you're really constrained, you have to act on the data where it is. Because again, the AI and machine learning are not an end to themselves. Yeah. That's just a way of getting insight from your data. So what we see folks driving towards is how do we enable the disconnected force to make sense of their environment faster, to render them safer and at the same time more lethal, so that they can move quickly and prosecute their mission. That's requiring us to be able to capture the data, store the data, and then analyze the data much more rapidly. So it's driving this push towards edge computing, not for edge computing's sake, but so that we can bring valuable insights for the operators that are deployed forward and usually are disconnected.
A pretty high up in uniform said to me not too long ago, we shouldn't call it edge computing, we should call it edge decision making. And that fits exactly with what you just said about acting on the data where it is, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of emphasis when you get into the sales portion about the products and the end items, and you can't lose focus on the reason why we're doing it. We're doing it because we are trying to assist our forces in making decisions, making, as I said, sense of their environment very quickly, recognize we put our forces in austere environments that are foreign to them, and the more we can bring sensors to bear to help them assess their environment, the quicker they can get on with the mission and then get back into the safe zone. So we focus now on how do we collect and analyze data quickly in a small enough package that they can move with it so it's not burdensome, but at the same time it's still got to be powerful enough to be able to make the insights. We cannot sit forward on a target for 5.5 hours simply because we couldn't get the compute there. So there's this balancing act of what's too big, what's too small, and then really the question to the force is, what kind of decisions do you want to make, right? And that's a lot of times where we start with our customers is, okay, what are the decisions you want to make? What kind of information do you want to have at your fingertips? And then that helps us back into what the technical solution is.
Yeah, a lot of the conversation around edge computing, to just talk about the architecture for a second, revolves around how do we build an infrastructure that the edge nodes are connected to each other. Information doesn't have to come edge, core, back out to the edge. What does that look like in 2023, and how do you expect that to evolve over time, Bill?
Yeah, so what's happened in the last, I'd say, 3 to 4 years has become the emergence of two other virtualized layers of the enterprise. One is a data fabric or a data mesh, you hear people call it. That's what's kind of synchronizing the awareness of the data. You don't move the data, but the nodes let each other know what they have so that you can understand the data, move the workloads to the data. And then above that at a higher level is your software-defined wide area network, your SD-WAN, and that's what's interconnecting those nodes, because you're right, a lot of times home station is really far away when you can actually have a distributed network that is much more survivable, much quicker to get to. And so what you see us now building and what you see the DoD going after is a mesh network of highly capable distributed compute nodes, almost working as a swarm, right? So swarm learning is really a thing now, and it's where you're able to bring that high computing capability forward and then let those distributed nodes talk to each other and share insights without having to come back to a core or a data center, because that's becoming a misnomer. Your data is staying out at the edge, and we're not bringing it back anymore because there's just not the bandwidth or it's too big. So I would argue very quickly that the emergence of the data fabric, the capabilities you get in an intelligent data fabric, combined with the capabilities of the software-defined WAN, is what's allowing that distributed network to stay disconnected and operating in space to bring insights to the operators, for sure.
Bill, it's great insight. Thanks very much for joining me.
Thanks for your time.